Hi guys, welcome to Adam McKola TV. I'm Adam. This is the preview for Manchester United's Premier League clash against Arsenal. It's on Sunday at Old Trafford and I cannot wait. Any game against Arsenal is a big one. It brings that mixture of excitement, nervousness, confidence, everything you can have in one. You get it for these ones. It's like Liverpool. Well, it's not as big as a Liverpool game, but the rivalry has been as big in recent and modern times. You remember Wenger versus Fergie, Keane versus Vieira, so on and so forth. Obviously, it's not been as fierce in recent years, but the rivalry is still there. This season, they beat us 3-0 at the Emirates. Darmian had a bad day in particular. Sanchez absolutely roasted him. And Arsenal were thoroughly deserving of the victory. At that point in time, United were in a much better place. I think the defeat against Arsenal, also that defeat out in Eindhoven, kind of made the wheels fall off, and we've never really recovered from then. And it's just been that constant cycle. We had massive injury problems, that is well aware. But our problems have been the way we've played football, and I don't care what injuries you've got, there's no excuse for the way we have played football. Coming into this game though, who do we play? We've had so many injuries, but then the youngsters have been coming in and doing well. Vieira at right back, Riley at left back, Rashford up front, got 2 goals on his debut. A dream debut it was for him as well. So these players will be thinking, hold on, I deserve to start. I played well against Midtjylland. I deserve to start this game. One good thing for us is Marcus Rojo made a return, and the reason I think that's a good thing is because if we've got no Chris Smalling, then we don't have to play Michael Carrick out of position at the back. We can always put Rojo in there, maybe put Daley Blind. If Smalling's fit, then we can put Daley Blind at fullback, and we don't have to play Riley and Vieira both at fullback. Now, I don't think there was anything wrong with Riley's performance. Just going into this game, you don't want to play 5-6 youngsters all at once. And that's the big difference for Manchester. Louis van Gaal likes to have a small squad so that if he gets injuries, then he can throw some of the youngsters in. The problem for us is we've had 14, 15 injuries at a time. So when we've been putting youngsters into the team, we've been putting 5 or 6 at a time. And it hasn't really been fair on them or us, because they're getting chucked in at the deep end almost, and they're coming into a team that isn't playing with confidence. There's a lot of pressure on them to get results and all that stuff. And they're coming in and they have to make it happen. They can't really relax. And that isn't fair on them. But also, throwing them at the deep end, if they swim, hallelujah, we've got some decent players on our hands. So it's a good and it's a bad thing. Mainly a bad thing in terms of challenging for the title and challenging in Europe, so on and so forth. But in the long term, some of these youngsters will probably think, wow, Louis van Gaal gave me my chance and I've never looked back since then. So it'll be interesting to see how some of these youngsters develop from here on in. But yeah, the injury worries is massive. It's a big problem for Manchester United at the moment. And the players that are out could form a decent 11. So we're obviously going to miss them. But as I've said before, no excuses for our poor form. And I think the youth that has come in has done very well as well. Marcus Rashford was excellent. Riley, excellent. Vieira did fantastically well again when we've had to call on Cameron Borthwick-Jackson. He's done well. So it's good signs coming through. Very, very good signs. But as I said, we need to be competitive. The results needed to be better short term, and they haven't been. So all the pressure that Louis van Gaal is under is justified. Now, what kind of 11 will we see? I'm not going to predict my 11. I'm just going to say a few things that I would like maybe to see. I would love to see Andreas Pereira start. Now, hear me out on this one. I know it's very unlikely. I don't expect to see him start. But Andreas Pereira, for me, is the most talented player that we've got in our academy system. When you're looking at Andreas Pereira, I think Timothy Fosu-Mensah, those two for me are my standout players. They're my favourites. But Andreas Pereira is without doubt the most talented. He needs to be playing games. He needs to be given game time. Now, Louis van Gaal obviously likes him. He gave him a 5-year contract. But he came on for 5 minutes against Midtjylland. I can understand. He's got more experienced players playing in his position, Mata, so on and so forth. But let's give him a platform on Sunday. Big Premier League game. Old Trafford. Everyone around the world will be watching it. Let's play him. Let's see what he can do. I have no doubts about his talent. Let him put it into action, because I think he's a fantastic player, and we've got to be careful with him that we don't lose him, because there'll be a few teams sniffing around him if he shows any signs of discontent about being at Manchester United. But that's just one of my gripes with the youngsters, because I think they've done fantastically well. Louis van Gaal confirmed David De Gea should be back. Chris Smalling is unlikely to be back, as is Anthony Martial. So we could be without Smalling and Martial for that game. That's a big worry there. Do we start Rashford up front? He'll be full of confidence if he does. And up against the likes of Mertesacker, I can see his movement and his pace causing problems, but it's not ideal. You want to go into it with your full strength team, and we haven't got that at the moment. So what is my prediction for the game? Well, I think Arsenal, in terms of the threats that they pose, looking at Ozil, Sanchez, and even Welbeck, I think could do fantastically well for them against us on Sunday. And we'll need to keep an eye on those guys. But for United, I think the fact that we've got so many injuries, I'm going to have to say I think it's going to be a score draw and maybe a 1-1 on Sunday. I am looking forward to the game though. I hope it's a good game of football, and I hope that we play with a similar style and verve that we have seen against Shrewsbury and Midgetland. Now, I know those were lesser opposition as such, but if we play with the same intensity to get the ball back fast, the same intensity in attack, then it'll be happy, and it'll be a lot better to see. So as I said, 1-1 draw I'm going for. I think it'll be an interesting game. Cannot wait for the game. Guys, if you're at the game, come and see us after on Full-Time Devils Fan Camp. Find us in the usual spot. But for now, guys, subscribe to McKola TV. Like, comment and share. Get your predictions in below, your 11s, who you want to see, who do you fear most, etc, etc. And also coming a little bit later today on my channel is the Footy Manager video. Sorry it wasn't up yesterday, but it will be up in a few hours. See you later.